time forward, just a little bit, in these moments after death, as you sit there in the room, contemplating your life. What ends up happening? You see.
With all those people in the village?
Just in the house where you were at, your last moments. What ends up happening? What's the next thing that happens? You stick around and watch for a while, or do you move?
They've filed out, and men and women, no, women have filed in. They're wrapping my body, kind of like a mummy. I don't want to see what they're doing. I don't really want to see this.
Okay. You don't have to see it. So as you
I'm actually interested in anything but this.
Understood. So let's move forward to when you take your next action.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next thing? What does the former shepherd field worker have in mind? Where do you go once on the spirit side?
Reuniting with the ancestors, but really, I get to go see John again.
How does he receive you?
I wouldn't say he received me. I go to a men's circle where he's teaching. Except this time I really engage.
What's he saying?
He's teaching those advanced concepts. Only this time I come back. I mean, I'm just transfixed with this circle and learning as much as I can. And he's teaching a lot of different... It's like the law is taught. There are bits and pieces that are true and bits and pieces that are wrong. And then he's brought together all these other concepts. And he's talking about them. And it's the same things he was teaching on Earth, but he's able to draw in the air and bring them to life with examples. And I'm actually able to absorb it and learn. Nobody's chastising me or criticizing me or poking me in the ribs and telling me to ignore him. I'm able to really dig in.
How does that make you feel?
It's great. I'm having a great time. This is so much better than everything before.
Yeah.
And I can bring a lot of this. I want to start somehow seeding it into my children and grandchildren while they sleep, weaving in their dreams. And then I'm now kind of like a spirit guardian over my family. And when they come into contact with one of the followers of these folks, and what the follower says has not been changed by human hierarchy and is true in the original words, I make sure to ping their heartstrings, my offspring's heartstrings, that when they hear this truth that defies the law that I raised them on, when they hear this truth, they know it, they become transfixed, and I make sure they have the courage to seek more information.
Very interesting. So it sounds like, first of all, John has continued teaching on the other side, and you want to make sure that your descendants put them on the path to absorb that message.
Yes, I want to correct the mistake of my village elders and the mistake of me personally. I also want them to have access to this information. I want to make sure they have the courage to follow up on it. I want to create the environment I did not have. I want to ensure these words and these teachings live and thrive. But one thing I am noticing is the words are changing over time as my grandchildren and great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren are hearing it. The words are changing over time. It makes me sad. Again, I have learned, John has taught me how the law originally was given to Abraham and Moses, and how it changed over time to what I taught was wrong. The same thing is occurring with John and his cousin's original message. This is something that must be corrected.
And do you feel obligated to help?
If I ever get the opportunity, I will be very focused on that.
Do you get to counsel John or his cousin on that side?
His cousin, no. I've only sat in his circle a couple of times. And it is like time stops and everything goes direct. I actually feel more comfortable learning from John. I spend a lot of time at John's circle, but I'm not a favorite. There's no favorites. There are a lot of people coming and going, but I am one of the most consistent learners at John's circle.
See yourself sitting in John's circle. Sink into yourself on the spirit side. See yourself listening to him speaking. Take note of the others in the circle with you. Is there anybody you recognize?
Well, of course, my two sons that are here. A couple of my grandsons.
So you've been here a while with John, because they've lived their lives, it sounds like. Okay. And so let's move time forward a bit to where eventually you decide to review what happened in that life. So you go to the place where you do your life review. Tell me about that. What's that like?
I mean, where do you want me to start? There's so many opportunities and things I learned. I mean,
Give me the
not to trust everyone from your village and all your elders. No, just because they're elders, you can't trust. They had no perspective. They actually refused perspective. They actually hid from gaining perspective and avoided it. I should have listened to myself. Patience. I spent almost that entire life being impatient, pissed off, miserable. So many. Yeah, I mean, it was not a life worth living again, but a ton of lessons learned from it. But a lot of hardship, a lot of death, a lot of discomfort, a lot of disease, a lot of unknown, a lot of scary things, a lot of famine. I mean, fuck that.
And every life has a lesson and a purpose. And as you look at that life, what did you learn from it?
Staying open, trusting your instinct, passing on those characteristics, not copying the elders, which is what I passed on.
And what do you think was the purpose of that life?
Those lessons.
Was to learn those lessons.
Yeah. And, I mean, number one, to directly interact with with John and his cousin. To just be in their presence in the third dimension. It's just really a stroke of luck.
And so eventually, after your life review is done, what happens to you then? What do you decide to do?
I don't know.